Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. In a significant revelation about allegations against Wrestling Federation of India President and Lok Sabha MP Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, details of a 1,000-page charge sheet filed by the Delhi police have come out in the public domain, which clearly establish that Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh is charged of molestation, stalking, and sexual harassment. And the charge sheet very clearly says that Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh should be penalized and prosecuted for the offenses. The Delhi police also has requested the court to summon Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. But the million-dollar question is that why is Delhi police not arresting Brij Bhushan Sharan? Let me tell you at the very outset that this charge sheet is based on the eyewitness accounts of 106 people or 108 people, which includes the wrestlers, the coaches, and the referees. We'll talk about that. What has gone wrong with the charge sheet? What has gone wrong with the processes? Joining me now is former Supreme Court Judge Justice Madan Lokur. Sir, thank you so much for joining on the Federal. So my first question to you is that many people feel that this charge sheet, which has been filed by the Delhi police, is nothing but a cover-up exercise done by the Delhi police, and it has failed to arrest, whereas it does have the powers to arrest Brij Bhushan.
Yeah, thank you, Neelu, for having me on this program. You see, the charge sheet, it's 1,000 pages long, as you mentioned, but it would contain, the conclusions of the investigation that has been conducted and the conclusions of the investigating officer, right? And the material on the basis of which he has come to those conclusions and the material that he has collected, which is the statement of witnesses, photographs, and so on and so forth. So the fact that it's 1,000 pages long really doesn't mean very much. Now, the thing is that the charge sheet has been filed, all right, cognizance has been taken by the magistrate, and summons has been issued to the accused. Okay, so the procedure will now carry on from here. But I think what is equally important is what happened between January when the wrestlers had a dharna at Jantar Mantar. What happened between then and now? You see, one is that some sort of a oversight committee or something was set up by the government. Okay, they gave a report. What has happened to that report? Nobody seems to know. Okay, why is the government keeping that under wraps? The only conclusion that one can derive is that if the report was in favor of the accused, then the government would have come out and said, well, it's in his favor, so what are you people talking about? So the presumption is that it was against the accused, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. Now, if it was against him, why did the government not take any action? What were they waiting for?
Right.
And then the police start investigating. Well, they have the material before them. Okay, they just have to corroborate whatever the report says, assuming it's against the accused, and then go ahead. Right? Now, in the meanwhile, you had a lot of drama, because if you remember, one of the complainants was the father of a minor. Okay. Now, that is a very, very serious offense. Molesting a minor. Okay. A sexual offense against a minor is a very serious offense. Now, this girl goes to a magistrate, makes a statement under Section 164 of the Criminal Procedure Code. And then a couple of days later or a couple of weeks later, she says, no, you see, or at least her father says that, no, whatever she said was false. Which is a clear indication that this girl has been pressurized into withdrawing her statement. So the accused, apart from anything else, is a very influential person. He calls himself a Bahubali and all that. All right. He had given an interview somewhere in which he said that he has killed only one person. Sirf ek aadmi ko mara hai. All right. So he's a powerful person. He's a member of parliament. He is capable of and has shown that he can influence witnesses. He can tamper with the evidence, right? The report is evidence. The oversight committee report is evidence, actually, in a sense, against him.
Absolutely.
It does not come out in the open. Is tampering in a sense, at least suppressing it. So all the parameters requiring his arrest have already been made out, and it's a wonder why the Delhi police has not arrested him. It's I mean everything. I mean tampering
Absolutely.
with evidence.
But so you made a significant point. You said that, of course, the minor wrestler was under pressure, and out of that pressure, probably she withdrew and she made another fresh statement. So, which means that it was very clear that the POCSO Act could have been imposed on Brij Bhushan Sharan, but because of the pressure, he didn't let that happen.
Correct. Yeah, that's what it appears. I think it's pretty clear.
Right. Right. But so why do you think, I mean, according to you, it's anybody's guess that why Brij Bhushan is not being arrested, why Delhi police is not acting. People are also saying that why is Prime Minister Narendra Modi quiet? What do you think is the reason? Like, he established his importance in the political fraternity. He's told that, look, this is the influence which he has, or he might have in elections. So probably the government might not arrest him.
Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious that he's very, very influential, right? And that is the reason why, all this drama has been taking place since January. The wrestlers being evicted from, manhandled and evicted from Jantar Mantar, not being allowed to come back. I mean, they were told that, listen, there's no way that you can come back. They have been charged, at least FIRs have been filed against them, of rioting. Okay, so it's possible that at some point of time the Delhi police may file a charge sheet against them for rioting. Okay, when they were being evicted. So I mean, the whole thing is very, very strange. The turn of events that has taken place is very, very strange. And as far as I'm concerned, it leads to only one conclusion, that this person is very influential. Okay, and that perhaps explains why he's, not being arrested, why he wasn't arrested earlier. All these things have been happening, which are, according to me, are very strange.
But another thing, if you talk about the details of the charge sheet and the kind of sections which have been imposed, many are saying that these are all bailable offenses. Would it be right to read it that way, that the sections which have been imposed, he would easily get a bail, he would easily get away? And in a way, Delhi police has facilitated this for Brij Bhushan.
Well, I can't say offhand whether all the offenses are bailable, right? They may be bailable.
But so things like criminal intimidation, molestation, stalking, outraging the modesty, but are these not bailable?
I'm not very sure. I'll just have to check the CRPC.
Okay.
I'm not very sure. Offhand, I can't say yes or no. But even if they are bailable, what prevented the authorities from, arresting him and then granting him bail? He could still have been arrested. It's not that because it is bailable, therefore you don't arrest. I mean, people have been arrested for far lesser offenses in the past by Delhi police. So, and listen, even if it is bailable, the fact is that the material on record shows that this guy is a serial molester or a serial offender.
Right.
It's not that he has done it once to one wrestler. He's done it, as far as the newspaper reports are concerned, to at least 6 of them.
Yes.
And to some of them on more than one occasion.
Right.
Okay. So each one, assuming he's done it twice to each of these 6 wrestlers, that's 12 offenses.
Absolutely.
So he should be charged for 12 offenses.
Right.
Okay, now if you a person who molests women like this, 12 times, or 10 times or whatever the number of times. And you say, हाँ ठीक है, it doesn't matter, you know. Very strange.
And sir, if you have seen that video in which Times Now reporter was asking him a question the day Delhi police charge sheet details came in, and the Times Now reporter asked him that why should you not resign? So in a very arrogant tone, he gets back at the reporter saying, "मैं resign क्यों करूं? आप मुझसे resignation क्यों मांग रही हैं?" And then he actually threw the mic. This is the kind of arrogance this man has, and the Prime Minister is totally quiet about it. The Women and Child Development Minister doesn't speak.
Yeah, well, actually, I just saw the last part of that, program, where the mic is on the ground and this girl is saying something.
Yes.
I was on mute at that point of time, so I don't know what she said. But I didn't see the part, where he's sitting in the car, but yeah, assuming he said that, well, it just shows that he is a powerful person. I mean, can you imagine anybody else saying, why should I resign? Who are you to ask me kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that he is influential, powerful, and, has a good luck charm.
Sir, I was really wanting to ask you, because it is a very indeed a disturbing question, that a lot of girls, young girls from villages come to take part in wrestling activities. Now, what is the kind of message which this episode will send out to those young girls who are dreaming of, making records in the wrestling? And will the parents gather courage after seeing all what has happened with Sakshi Malik, Dinesh Fogart? What do you think is going to be the larger implication of this episode now?
Well, I think it's going to have an impact, all over, not only in wrestling, but in other sports as well. Young girls, young women, they think twice, what's going to happen, especially when they go to training camps, for example, right? Or when they go abroad to participate in something where, I mean, if something is happening in your own village or in your own backyard or something, perhaps you can do something about it. But if it's happening in a training camp at some other location, or it's happening in some foreign country, some instances of molestation were there in some foreign countries as well. In this particular case, it is definitely going to have an impact. They're going to think twice. What are we, getting ourselves into? Now, the other thing which is equally disturbing is that there is no internal complaints committee in many of these federations. Okay, so if a young lady or a young girl wants to make a complaint, where does she go? She can't go to the internal complaints committee because it doesn't exist. She goes to the police, and the police will say, "Haan, theek hai, you can file a complaint." Remember one thing: when these wrestlers filed an FIR or lodged a complaint, the Delhi police did not register an FIR.
Absolutely, yes.
Right? They had to go to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
To say that please register an FIR. Now, we are talking about national level, international level athletes. If this is the way they are being treated, you can imagine what's going to happen to some, young girl from some village, maybe from some town, who's trying to make it big.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's one. Second, what about the minor girl who was, in my view, pressurized to withdraw her statement?
Absolutely.
So a young girl will know that if she wants to do well in that sport, whichever sport it is, whether it's wrestling or anything else, don't make allegations. Otherwise, your career is finished.
Absolutely. But so the travesty of the whole thing is that most of these federations are headed by leading politicians, be it of any party. And currently, mostly the BJP leaders are heading most of the federations. Now, what does one do? And as you said, I mean, and I was talking to a few people who cover sports very closely, and they've said that, this is a story with every sporting federation. You will find sexual harassment cases, not one, but many, many against the coaches, against the referees, against the heads. And as you said, that there is no internal complaints committee. So what happens now? How does one cleanse up the whole system if we know that it is actually an adda of sexual harassment.
Yeah. Okay. You see, you have proved my point that this thing is not something which is confined only to wrestling.
Yes.
Okay. It happens in other sports as well. All right. Now, we need to, be far more transparent in our discussions. What is happening and why is this happening? Why is it that these sports federations do not have internal complaints committee? Is any action being taken against them? It's against the law. Why is the law not being implemented?
Absolutely.
I mean, can people say, theek hai, the law may say whatever it is, we are not going to implement it. Then what's the point of having that law if you're not going to implement it? There is this Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, POSH Act.
Yes.
If it is not being implemented, then why have it? You might as well make an announcement and say, well, we've enacted POSH Act, but we're not going to implement it. Do what you like. So there has to be this transparency which is missing. And the fact that transparency will not come about is clear from the events of January onwards as far as this case is concerned. We have a report of an oversight committee. It has not seen the light of day. All right. Eminent sportspersons were in that committee. What have they said? We don't know. We can only presume that they've given an adverse report because the report has not come out. If the report had come out, if it was in favor, it would have probably come out. So whether you have politicians or whether you have sportspersons, if there is no transparency, how does it make a difference?
Absolutely.
So there has to be this transparency, there has to be accountability, there has to be a dialogue. Why are we shying away from all this? I mean, is it that because, we don't care about our women? Why is that?
No, but sir, isn't the message very loud and clear that the Modi government doesn't care about women? I mean, not one, but so many women have spoken out, and there's a complete silence on the part of the Prime Minister. He doesn't speak. So is it not very, very evident that it's a very anti-woman kind of a government?
Yeah, but I don't want to say anything about the government. One doesn't know what will happen. So I pass that question. You
But
can
sir,
draw your own inference.
yeah. No.
Your viewers can draw their own inference.
Yes. No, but Justice Lokur, what would you say to the whole thing now that the charge sheet has been filed after so much of force, after so much of coercion? They've managed to file a charge sheet. They've managed to say that, yes, he's liable to be punished. But then again, he's not arrested. Wrestlers, we do not know what their future is going to be. They've been asked to come back to their practices, whether at all in what shape they are in to, play in a championship. We do not know as of now. Nobody knows what their future is going to be like. But what would you say to the whole, I mean, given the turn of events which we have seen post-January, the conduct of the police, the conduct of the witness protection programs, the conduct of the entire system, the federations, how would you really conclude this whole episode now?
Well, I think the entire thing is pretty shameful, very distressing. Okay. And I don't know, it doesn't speak of, it doesn't speak well of, what's been happening. And it's going to have, a long-term impact on sports, on, laws, in society, safety of women, right? Sexual harassment. No, it's not a small thing, what has happened. And by the way, if I remember correctly, I think the first complaint was made sometime in August.
Yes.
Last year.
Right.
So we are almost 1 year down the line. And we still haven't seen the end of it. Okay, so it's definitely going to have a long-term effect, adverse effect.
But Justice Lokur, when the trial begins now, what can we expect? Are we going to expect that the court might order the arrest? Brij Bhushan would be arrested. Of course, he's being summoned on 18th of July now. But what happens from here on? Are we going to see, I mean, will the wrestlers get justice? That's the major question.
Yeah, well, the court will not order arrest. They don't have the power to do that.
Okay.
The accused will come to court. He will say whatever he wants to say. There will be arguments on the charges. Charges will be framed, I hope. Right. And as everybody is, very fond of saying, the law will take its own course. Okay, which means nothing. It means that this case is going to drag on forever. You have 100 witnesses. Can you imagine how much time it's going to take to examine 100 witnesses?
But sir, tell me, 106 witnesses accounts have been corroborated in this particular charge sheet. Now, those 106 witnesses do not, I mean, are they not exposed to so much of vulnerability now? If that minor wrestler can be pressurized, what about these witnesses who've come forward, who gathered the courage to speak against Brij Bhushan? What happens to them? Is the system going to provide them any protection?
Well, witnesses should be given protection, but we know that it's only on paper. Witnesses have been killed, not in this case, but in other cases. Witnesses have been killed. Witnesses have withdrawn their statements. Right? So, anything can happen.
No, but if the witnesses are not protected well, of course, they'll be protected on paper, but not otherwise. If they will be still coerced and pressurized, of course, they might retract their statements, which means that the case will be completely watered down and Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh will get away.
Yeah, it might collapse. You're right. You're right. Supposing a witness says something, all right, there are instances where some lady has been raped. Okay, she comes into the witness box and says, no, I was not raped. It was consensual. The case is going to collapse. All right. Now, these 6 wrestlers, they're tough.
Chances of this is high. And the chances of this?
No, these 6 wrestlers are tough. They're probably not going to back down from their statement. Okay, having gone through all this, it looks unlikely that they're going to back down. The others might just say, no, we didn't say all this. Police ne to aise hi likh diya apne aap. We never said all this. So then the court will be in a quandary. Either you believe the 6 wrestlers or you don't believe them.
Really a sad commentary on the way the system works.
Yeah, it is. It is a sad commentary. The whole episode, is a sad commentary. Now, what is going to happen in future, I don't know. I can't predict. But until today, whatever has happened is a pretty sad commentary. Distressing, not sad, but distressing.
Really, I'm falling short of words to say anything on this, and unfortunate is the word you could call. But of course, Prime Minister's silence is baffling, so to say, and also the Women and Child Development Minister. We have nobody in the police also to arrest. Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful having you on the program, Justice Lokur. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview, send us your feedback, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you.
Subscribe to The Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.